Hey, good morning, Judith.
Hey, good morning, Troy. How's it going?
Not bad. Not bad. I don't think Levy's joining us today. He's not quite able to get back home from wherever he's traveling, so just us today. Anything exciting?
No, I'm still trying to recovering from this cough. It hit me so hard last week. Unbelievable, but getting there. Other than that, everything is fine, I guess.
Yeah, it's a pretty uneventful week. Warmed up pretty good, and I'm happy that the sun shines, right? Right. Well, it's not shining right now, but it has been. Good weather, good times.
Yeah,
So,
we had some good weather here as well. Had managed to go out to the pool a bit throughout the week, so that's good. Now we have thunderstorms since last night or yesterday evening.
hopefully just thunderstorms, no twisters, none
Yeah,
of that.
hopefully.
So I was in there thinking about a couple things, and I come across an old thread or discussion with a former colleague we had at our last company supporting a common client. And I was looking at kind of the evolution of self-directed teams, and I was thinking about, what a manager's role is and what HR business partners do to help in supporting the employee side of work. And I kind of got a little bit sideways thinking in terms of it feels almost as though HR today is there to protect the business almost exclusively. It used to feel like a good split between protecting an employee, protecting the business. And reflecting on some comments that have been made to both our podcast and around us, I think that it's fairly common for people to feel abandoned by an organization today. I hate to use the example, but one of the pieces of advice that I have read repeatedly over the last couple of years is remember that your coworkers are not your friends unless you've developed a deep relationship. They're just coworkers. So try not to don't divulge anything too detailed or personal about what your goals and desires are. And don't give other people the opportunity to leverage against you based off of knowledge you've shared. Pretty interesting stuff. And when you look at it in the context of what we've experienced, right, where we looked at how many employees were laid off who were top performers, why were they allowed to be selected versus somebody that maybe you could have used as a cost reduction if needed or required, that was not performing. And those challenges, they did exist, and it did reveal to me a little bit of lack of trust that started to develop with the HR side of the business. What's your take?
Yeah, I agree. Initially, I don't know, it was like 20 years ago, probably 15 years ago, we could still rely on HR as leaders if we needed some help, right? It was always difficult depending on which part of the globe you're coming from and which region it is, but because of the different labor laws and work councils and unions and things like that, that nature. I have more experience obviously with the European one. They were there always, most, well, not saying always, but mostly they were there to help the leaders to navigate and get where we needed to get. But when it came to laying off people for whatever reasons, that was not dictated by corporate as per se, but the person was not performing or had some behavioral issues, so on and so forth. It was really difficult to get the help because that felt like they were protecting the reputation of the company on one hand, but on the other hand, the employee as well. So there was kind of like a balance. And as a leader, you needed to understand how to navigate that balance, and you needed to be in a position to be able to explain to HR why this person is not good for the reputation of the company and why it's better to let him or her go, right? Even if it needs to be with a service package or whatsoever. But it was difficult, but at the same time they were there and they were helping. Not making it easier, but they were helping to get through the process. On the US side of things, obviously it's way more difficult from that perspective because there are not that many, or there is no, well, I know that there is union, but there is a certain type of work or whatever it's called, where the union is involved. But yeah, I don't know, we've been there, both of us, right? Where we thought that going to HR and telling them what we think and how we are being treated, for example, is a good idea because they are there to help us to get through to get through the situation, and both of us got burned.
Yep.
I don't know.
So, the whole concept of self-directed teams has been around a long time. And really, early in my career, working in software engineering specifically, self-directed was a natural form, but it didn't eliminate a manager. It just meant the manager's role wasn't standing over watching people do work. You became the glue that helped you created a buffer between the organization and the employee, and you helped mitigate problems before they became issues.
Yeah.
That's where, for me, the HR business partner relationship kind of has changed. And it hasn't changed necessarily in one direction, but significantly in the last few years, it's been more of a negative impact. Whereas looking to the HR business partner and finding myself having to justify team alignment, for example, and not getting that approval from HR, where my manager was fully supportive of it, the organization would benefit from it. We'd be looking at data-driven decisions showing the cost benefit of making a change, but not getting that approval from HR. I couldn't reconcile why HR would be blocking a change, whereas the rest of the senior leadership team understood what was needed and why. And so delving into that kind of relationship, what it's become is more fragmented, and I don't see the same level of support for the employees I saw previously. It feels more like, again, they're there to protect something from the business perspective, protect the business. It's not wrong.
No,
I'm
it's
not
not.
criticizing HR folks for doing this. What I'm saying is that we seem to have lost that connective tissue, the glue that held us together as a company seems to have kind of changed. And so we're
And
not able to progress.
the partnership is missing,
Yeah,
basically.
the HR part's still there. The business partner piece of it seems to be broken and not exactly going the direction it's always felt it should. I don't know if that's necessarily universal or if I'm accurately describing it. I will say, however, it's been a struggle working with a part of the organization that seems, hyper focused on unknowns to us as leaders, even in a senior leadership role, unknown what they're really protecting and why the structure is so inflexible, why there's no more bidirectional cohesive decision making. It's all one way.
It shouldn't be like that, but let's not forget that HR might have information that we
Exactly.
don't have. So
Right.
and like you said, it's your manager who was the same person as my manager. Eventually, he approved and he was okay with your plan, but probably he didn't know something that HR knew, and that's why HR didn't allow. So
Yeah.
that,
And
that
that's
there are so many unknowns, is all I'm saying, that
and that
that we as leaders are not getting.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to imply as well. The challenge here is then you flip this down to, okay, how about the individual contributor? How is an individual contributor supposed to be successful? How is a self-directed team? Again, this is not a new concept. Self-directed teams have been around for a long time, and they've produced great quality, great cost savings, efficiency. When you allow individual contributors to be part of the decision-making process, they have a feeling of ownership. It is all positive. When you break that connectivity, what are they supposed to do? Think, like we're talking about, maybe HR knew of something that we didn't know about, or even our manager didn't know about, and he was a VP. What is it doing to an individual contributor's capability of delivery when it's unclear the direction? And do they go into a self-preservation mode?
Definitely.
I'm gonna lie low. I'm gonna do as much as I can, but not too much. What does it change, and how does it feel as an individual contributor to have this cloud of doubt constantly over, especially with layoffs that just never seem to stop?
Yeah, it never seems to stop, and still ongoing as far as I know. But it's not just, it's at every other company now as well, right? The news is full with that. And I know for a fact I've been talking to some people lately, and they said the same thing, that they don't know what's coming. We don't know what's coming, right? As an organization. As an organization, what kind of changes are still going to be implemented, and everybody is like, yeah, I just decided that I'm just gonna, like you said, lay low, do whatever I have to do, and then we just take it from there, because there's nothing you can use to go on by, right, as an information. So the best thing you can do, and these are basically mature, very good people who are pulling their fair share from the work, and they just want to contribute. They just want to do the right thing for the company, and obviously for in a way for themselves as well, because they need to keep their jobs, right? They want to have their own salaries, obviously, but the uncertainty is what is causing an issue, and the insecurity that it's causing. So, and it's, again, it's nothing new. We've seen it so many years ago as well. it's kind of like a strategic decision on the leadership side, I think, on the exec level. The more people feel insecure, the more people are going to leave, and then we don't need to pay the severance package and so on and so forth, right? I know that it's harsh to say that out, but that's what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, 100% agree. So I think from our perspective, we know the things we have to continue to do in a leadership role to stay engaged and be successful. How do you provide that connectivity between the individual contributor and the organization, et cetera? But what do individual contributors need to do? The easy things to throw out top of mind: stay current on skills. If your organization is adopting new technology, understand that technology, learn it, and embrace it, support it. Avoid the negative contact. Keep negative comments to yourself. You can go home and maybe share with your significant other or somebody else, but don't share it at work. The simple things. Just stay visible and positive, but also maybe make sure your resume is current. Stay engaged with hiring processes and be looking at what opportunities are out there.
And that's where we keep on saying, or kept on saying, right, that you always have to have a plan B, because you never know what's coming, and we know how that feels, but always have to have a plan B. And like you said, in addition to what you said, need to be open-minded, because decisions are being made up there, right? We don't know what's coming. We don't know who is going to be our next manager or next leader, or how that person is going to be. And if your leadership is changing, you have to be open-minded, and you have to be helpful, and be there and help support the new person, because you never know why that person got put in that position, whether he or she wanted to be in that position to begin with. But if you don't help, and the new person is not getting the help, it's not going to be good for you either as an individual contributor, because you're just going to feel the pain.
Exactly. And touching on what you said there, you also don't know. In our case, you don't know if your manager's next on the list to go. And so you have to be prepared for those kinds of changes too. I don't think avoiding conflict is effective. I think engaging and being aware of it, but not creating waves. Just finding a positive influence you can have with conflict rather than running away from it. If you run away from the conflict, it makes you look uninterested, unengaged, and maybe whoever replaces your manager, or maybe your current manager decides that if I have to let another person go, I'm going to take the people that didn't step up when we needed them to.
And there are plenty of those as well, right? Who are just sitting there and wanting to do their 8 hours and then just go. That's not how you can get out of this situation. But like you said, be visible enough and helpful enough.
Yeah, because just having the expertise is not going to be enough. That's your primary currency. Yeah. Being an expert, or knowing the work you do, knowing the trade or the skills necessary, that's your primary currency. But just relying on that alone, like we've discussed, we've seen plenty of very good performers selected to be removed as part of cost savings over somebody who was maybe just more visible, but not as talented and not as skilled, and not as proficient.
Yeah, but being only vocal doesn't help either. It only helps and only does it the trick to a certain degree and to a certain point. At some point, somebody is going to recognize that it's just smoke and mirror, and that's it.
Yeah, but that's not to take away from advocating for yourself. You do have to advocate for yourself. You just have to make sure that you find that, and it's hard because every organization is different. Every interpersonal relationship is going to be different. But finding a way to advocate for yourself without pushing people away, it can be challenging.
Show your value. That's what I had to do the last 6-7 months. I wasn't in a really good situation, but I had to keep on pushing, and I had to keep on doing it, and had to prove them that this is, if they haven't seen it just yet, I had the opportunity to show them my value, and now everything flipped around, turned around, and everything is fine now. But in that situation that I've been in, or circumstances, most people would have just walked away. Just sit around doing nothing. I did what I had to do. I did more than what I had to do as part of my role, and that's how they recognize that bears the value that I'm bringing. And I didn't need to be vocal. I wasn't vocal. I didn't need to throw anybody under the bus, because somebody was suggesting me that as well in the company, that hey, just throw this person under the bus and then you're gonna be fine. Oh, that's not me. So keep your values, keep your ethics, and just push it.
100%. And don't be afraid to collaborate and share your ideas. It is natural to feel defensive over I've created this and I don't want to give it away. But if you make sure you're sharing with the team, not just an individual to individual, it makes it harder for somebody to lose focus of who came up with this solution, who made this product change, who introduced this new line of code that fixed everything. If you collaborate broadly, you're less likely to lose that ownership, if you want it to be ownership of a tangible asset you've created. If you do it privately, it's always possible that somebody takes credit for your work. So, stay
You've said
engaged,
that.
stay in front of people, not person, and get out there and continue to work hard. Ultimately, be prepared for a change, but ultimately do your best and be visible. I think that it helps in the long term. If you get let go after doing all that, there's probably something deeper, something wrong with the organization that there was nothing you're going to do that prevented it from
Yeah,
happening.
but and at the same time, if even if you get let go after that, while you were staying professional and did your best and collaborated, helped everybody whatsoever. Even if you get let go after that, then at least you know that you did everything in your power
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
could, and then at least you're not gonna go down the to depression that hey it didn't work, I didn't do my best, and so on and so forth, so I could have done something better. It helps you stay mentally healthy from
yeah.
that perspective.
I
But
agree.
stay professional. That's it.
It's hard to give advice. If you're one of 30,000 receiving an email first thing in the
Yeah.
morning letting you know you're gone, that's indiscriminate. It's a bunch of bean counters decided this is the criteria and this is the group. They're all expendable. There's nothing you can do. The organization is what it is, and sometimes it's for the worst. But, back to the core topic is how do you get a better relationship with HR? I'm not 100% sure.
No anymore.
I've gone to that side and I'm a fan of the LM podcast. I've gone to that side Chamath come up with is if you want an effective organization, hire a bunch of lawyers to protect the company and allow the teams to self-organize for benefits. I started to believe that's probably the better path forward from the outcomes I've seen. This is my personal experience. I'm not advocating against HR. I'm just saying that in many instances it almost feels like it does not help or serve the people assets. Human capital is the most valuable asset every organization has, and it just doesn't feel like it serves the human capital interest anymore.
Yeah, and then there's the big question, right? Sorry, right? Initially, I was a good asset as well for the company, right? The previous one
Yeah,
that we both worked for. What has changed overnight? And we're never gonna get to know. But
yeah,
what has changed overnight that made them decide that yeah, she needs to go?
yeah. It's a mystery because you remember when I got laid off, I thought, well, the last person I expect to see get laid off is Judith. We've had this discussion previously. Your position in the company, what you were doing, and how everything was structured, it really just didn't make any sense. But then yet it happened.
Yeah, but it's HR was for a long period of time protecting me in a sense, right? Because there was a plan to bring me over to the US, and even after that, but then when the whole leadership change happened above us, that's when things started to go south. My value hasn't changed. What has changed?
Exactly. That's an excellent point, Judith.
And
Great
did
question too.
HR knows the answer. We don't know the answer.
Yeah, we don't. We can try to guess about it, but I mean, it gets you nowhere. I don't know. What are your closing thoughts, and what would you say to somebody who's in a position today where they feel threatened?
Like we said it just a few minutes ago, you never know what's coming. Decisions are being made above you, even probably above your own manager's head that they are not even aware of. Just like we said it, stay professional. Keep showing your value. Keep working for the company and do what's best for the company. But at the same time, take care of yourself. Get your resume ready and start building relationships. Because in this world now, the one way, or probably it feels like almost the only way to get hired, is if you have relationships and networking.
Yeah, I keep hearing the statistics of things like that 80% of the jobs open are not available for you to find. You got to know somebody on the inside, etc. is definitely the highest value add for each individual to start networking and know people. Identify companies you want to work for. Do some research. Just figure out, is this an organization I would fit at? Don't be afraid to take a swing, even if it's a miss, at positions that are close, but maybe not 100% match. Just try to do that self-marketing. Come up with the 60-second elevator pitch for yourself and just be ready to put it in front of people.
Yeah, there is no secret sauce here how you can be
There's
successful, unfortunately, and with the technology and everything evolving so fast, it's impossible to keep up with it, but just be true to yourself, and that's it.
I agree, 100%. Great discussion. Maybe in the upcoming weeks we can talk a little bit about the actual impact, emotional impact, and how it affects each and every one that we've known and ourselves specifically.
Yeah, or how we ourselves, as an example, how we handle the situation after being laid off. It's not easy, and everybody handles it differently and treats it differently. But yeah, hopefully we can get somebody on as well from a professional perspective, how it hits people.
That would be the plan, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be the plan.
Okay. Well, great discussion, Judith. Look forward to talking to you and hopefully Levi again next week.
Hopefully he's gonna be here. Talk to you soon.